Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of fantastic fictional fight scenes. This one comes highly recommended from the fans. I have had hundreds of requests to do this one. Kengan Ashura. If I'm not pronouncing that one correctly, I don't care. It's a Japanese cartoon. And if that offends you, it's an animated film from Japan, therefore it is a Japanese cartoon about fighters who fight. This will be a 3-part series. Parts 1 and 2 will cover the manga. We broke up that fight into 2 sections. It actually takes up 4 chapters in the manga. The fight scene itself isn't that long, but there are a lot of drawn-out pauses, internal monologues, close-ups of eyeballs, and other such things that you will often see in Japanese cartoons and comics. In part 3 of this series, we're going to take a look at the anime, which took some different liberties as far as turning it into a motion picture than the manga did in still frames. So what is the story of Kengan Ashura? Well, I had to do some digging on the internet to find out, because when you start in the middle of a manga at chapter 112, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You need some context. So I did a little bit of digging into the story on the internet, and it turns out it's a martial arts tournament sponsored by a company called the No-Gi Company. No-Gi, that sounds kind of familiar. Wait a minute, that's also the name of my sponsor, No-Gi, BJJgear.com. No kidding, what a coincidence. Go check them out for some fantastic rash guards, spats, shorts, and other great fight gear you can use in the gym. And speaking of Japanese cartoons, check this one out. They make all kinds of anime-related stuff, such as these Japanese cartoon rat monsters having an MMA fight on the front. NoGiBJJgear.com. Go check them out. Don't forget to use my code RAMSEY10 for a 10% discount off everything. Links in the description below. Now, back to fantastic fictional fight scenes. So, join me and the most dangerous comedian in Shanghai, Dewey Parker, as we go to the gym and make this shot-by-shot remake of Kengan Ashura, chapters 112 through chapters 116, a fight scene between Okubo and Agito. Okubo took an orthodox MMA-style stance. Agito took an offensive stance with a lowered guard. Both were ready for battle. One of the strongest men in public martial arts, Okubo Naoya. The strongest man in underground martial arts, Kano Agito. They're like a dragon and tiger. This is total war between public and underground. Begin! The final match of the first round commences. A heel hold. You were not getting away with this! He managed to dodge Okubo's stomp and switch to an armbar. No! Okubo escaped that immediately. Now he's taken his side. A neck throw to a scarf hold. Agito takes the upper hand once again. And he's escaped again. They're going on and on and on. The battle continues without even a break. Okubo gets behind him, but Agito immediately gets him in a lock. It's like watching two snakes coiling around each other. Neither of them are breaking down. This is hardly on the level of a first-round fight. It was out of conviction that Okubo Naoya could defeat the Fang, and he's mounted him. What the hell's wrong with him? I thought he was showing off how he could grapple me on even terms, but he let me mount him so easily. And he's still not putting up any resistance, just a bare minimum of guard. What the hell is he trying to do? Enough. He launched Okubo off of him with his hips alone? Ho ho, that boy just won't do as he's told. The rehearsal's over. We've seen all of your blows, throws, and locks. And you will never reach me. Huh? It's over. Okubo Naoya has reached peak human performance, but a human can't defeat a monster. Okubo's attacks won't reach the Fang anymore. Chapter 114. Overwhelming. Agito's vision tilted. The battle rages on. Who will win? Tune in next time to find out whether Fang Agito will triumph or Okubo Naoya in this incredibly accurate shot-for-shot remake of Kengan Ashura chapters 112 through 116. So overall, what do I think of the Kengan Ashura manga, specifically this fight between Okubo and Agito? Well, like I said before, there are two things going on here. One, I like that they are showing the consequences to most of the mistakes that are being made. Okay? But two, those mistakes that are being made are very amateur mistakes, things that beginners would do. Things that beginners do all the time when they step into a Jiu-Jitsu class and put on the white belt for the first time. And it's kind of annoying to see a story built up that we're supposed to be watching the greatest fighters on planet Earth, and they kind of suck. And they're just not good technicians at all. And it's basically two glorified white belts going at it. Let's fix some of the technical problems with the fight choreography. This might not seem like a big deal at first, but it is. In the comic, the Fang sprawls on Okubo, walks him back up to a kneeling position, and then knees him in the face. Seems plausible, unless you've actually done this in real life and attempted to walk your opponent back up onto his knees. There's no reason to do that when you're in sprawl control. You need to drive your opponent's head down into the floor, otherwise they regain their posture. Posture means control. Agito could have kneed his opponent in the head from the sprawl control position. Instead, he walks his opponent up with the underhook from a position where he could be taken down with a double leg or a fireman's carry. Here are some real-life examples of what happens when you do not control your opponent's posture on sprawl control. Notice how I'm able to shoot in for a double leg on Jordan quite easily, and these students of mine, in this same position with their bodies so close to their opponent's legs because their posture is unbroken, are able to get the fireman's carry easily. Okubo is supposed to be one of the greatest grapplers in the world. There's no excuse for not transitioning. Let's pick apart Okubo's heel hook. He throws both legs to the outside, exposing his own leg to a counter heel hook and giving Agito all kinds of space to maneuver to escape or just kick him in the face as he did. Now, it's possible to finish a heel hook like this, but I don't like this transition. It's big, wide open, gives your opponent a ton of space, and there's no excuse for one of the world's greatest MMA fighters to do a heel hook like this. Watch what happens when I perform the heel hook like Okubo did in the comic. First of all, I give him way too much space to maneuver on the setup. That is not going to work on anybody. But secondly, look at my feet. Eddie right here, my training partner, this is only his second day of training Jiu-Jitsu, is able to catch a heel hook because my feet are right there on a silver platter for him. Again, if I stand up, give him all kinds of space like that, I'm going to get swept, I'm going to get counter heel hooked. If I put both legs on the outside, it's going to turn into a leg lock race, which I don't want. So here's a better way to do it. Weave his leg between your legs, control the space, don't give him a mile, and put both of your feet underneath his leg. Hide your feet so he can't heel hook you. Notice Eddie's trying to reach my feet, and he simply cannot. And I'm free to finish the heel hook at my leisure. One more time, I weave my legs very close, no space, hide my feet, and the heel hook is a simple finish. Right here, Agito does that goofy thing that a lot of new Jiu-Jitsu students do when they're learning the triangle choke for the first time. They try to squeeze the arm, they try to pull on the arm instead of controlling their opponent's posture. Now eventually he does switch to a arm bar, but he could have finished the triangle choke easily. Again, a lot of new white belts, they try pulling on the arm and just give the guy more space for the blood to flow in his neck instead of controlling the head and pulling down. You need to control your opponent's posture to apply downward pressure to finish a strangulation. Now, if you want to finish an armbar, there are several ways to do it. You can pull on the arm, but you gotta push your hips up to straighten out the arm. Throw your other leg over the head like this. Or sweep, throw your leg over, and then you don't have to do that goofy belly down thing that relies on your opponent making a mistake. We see a couple of moments in this comic where Agito throws his opponent across the arena, and the implication is because he's so strong and so technical, but the reality is it is because of bad position on the part of Okubo. Check out this side control mistake a lot of beginners make. Eddie put his head over the mat instead of over me, so I am easily able to just roll him over. Now watch this. Eddie's head is over the mat, he goes over easily, but he's going to make one simple adjustment. Now he's going to put his head over me. Now his weight's on the man and off the mat, so with that same type of force and muscle, I'm not able to roll Eddie over. But as soon as he puts his head on the mat, boom, there he goes. This knee wrestling scene cracked me up because this is supposed to be a serious fight and they're on their knees. I know a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms train on the knees because they're worried about space, they're worried about bumping into each other, or maybe they just don't train takedowns like they should. But this is not how real fights happen, not how they should happen anyway. If you find yourself in a kneeling position, get up. If you're on your knees, you have no power, you have no control. Just get back up on your feet, where you can use your best tools. Why do you take fights to the ground in Jiu-Jitsu in the first place? It is to limit your opponent's power and control and the damage he can do with strikes. If you're up on your feet, you can throw, you can strike, you can do damage. But if you're on your knees, you're crawling like a baby. If you find yourself in this habit, fix it quick. If you train at a Jiu-Jitsu gym where you start on the knees, pick a real position instead, like guard. That will actually help you develop your game. Crawling toward each other on their knees. They're crawling toward each other on their knees. That just wouldn't happen in a professional fight. Professional fighters would not crawl toward each other on their knees. Oh. Wow. 1FC. Man. Guys, I'm trying to make a point here. Okubo has some serious issues with his mount, particularly how he's climbing on right here, and secondly, how he's in this very unstable sitting on the hips position. If you don't know why it's bad to sit on your opponent's hips in mount, it's because you'll get bucked off just like this, like Agito does in the comic. If I sit on Eddie's hips, he's gonna buck, and when he bucks, I'm gonna move the exact same way his hips move. If he bucks violently, I'm gonna move violently. If he grabs my arm and bridges and rolls, I'm gonna move with him. If you want to effectively strike from a mount position, you have to get up off your opponent's hips and move to a high mount position where you are not sitting at all. Rather, you are riding. There is space between your crotch and his chest. I'm up on my knees, I'm high on his body, my knees are dug high into his armpits, extending his arms away from his body, allowing me to reach his face with my fists, and he has no such luxury, but as soon as I sit on his hips, boom, I'm gone. Stay tuned for part 2 in this fantastic fictional fight scenes series about Kengan Ashura, where we will take a look at the remainder of this fight, where we will break it down in the gym and, of course, do a shot-by-shot remake of the fight choreography, panel by panel, live action in the gym. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train. Thanks again to the channel sponsor NoGi, BJJGear.com. Go check them out. It is still mind-boggling to me that the Kengan tournament is sponsored by a company called NoGi. And my channel is also sponsored by a company called NoGi. So, NoGi. Don't forget to use my code Ramsey10 for a 10% discount off everything.